Greetings, Jellyspooons! Welcome back to another Monday Madness. First off, apologies, I did not post a story time last week. I was very busy, worked a great deal, and did not have time to record one, so I shall do it this week instead, because I'm still working a lot, but I owe you, so I will be doing that this week for you guys. Also, anybody who watched and or voted for the musicals Battle Royale that we did for the last 4 weeks on this channel, well, don't worry, I have counted the votes. The winning musical has been confirmed, and I will be making a video to announce what that one is soon. I'm working on a weird idea. You wouldn't want a video of me just standing there going, and the winner is... No, we're gonna do something crazy. And also, of course, I've nearly finished my month's cosplay of Flynn Rider, so that video will be coming soon as well. Man, I'm busy. Anyway, so, this week, what are we on about? Well, you will be delighted to know that it is not musical theatre content. It is also not D&D content. It's not Critical Role content. It's none of my usual shtick. No, this week we're doing something slightly different. But, before we get into the video, first, a word from my sponsor, which is me. If you would like to support Mocha's Noise and all the crazy things that they do, that's me, I'm Mocha's Noise, then you can join us on Patreon! My Patreon supporters start from $3 a month. You can see behind-the-scenes pictures of the things that I am doing, vote in polls, put your opinions in before anyone else gets them, get information before other people know what I am up to, and of course you get photos of my dog, which is, let's be honest, why we're all here. Dog. You can also support me on Ko-fi. If you don't want to support me monthly, you can do it as often and sporadically as you would like to on Ko-fi. On my Ko-fi, I also have commissions. I do personalised in-character messages. I've done a lot of kids' birthdays recently. I love doing it. I will do whatever you would like, so commission me there if you would like to as well. Now, on with the video. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my actual, in real life jobs. Naming no names and talking about no companies in particular, I am going to be talking about escape rooms. And more importantly, I am going to be giving you my top 10 GM tips. GM, aka the Game Master. I'm going to take you through a day in the life of a Game Master. I'm going to tell you some of the behind the scenes stuff and what we do. No clues or answers will be given, of course. And I'm going to give you my top 10 tips that I wish you guys knew before you come to play an escape room. So with no more gilding the lily and no more ado, let's get into the top 10 Game Master tips to make your escape room the best it possibly can be. Let's go. Game Master tip number 1. This one sounds really obvious, but plenty of teams don't seem to get the memo, so I'm going to include it anyway. At the very beginning of the experience, be on time. Let's say your game is at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, this does not mean that you need to arrive at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, unless specifically instructed to do so by the game company when you're booking. If your game is at 2 o'clock, aim to be at least 5 minutes early. This means you can find out where you're going, get signed in, go through the health and safety, and get into your game as swiftly and easily as possible. Now, you can actually be too early, just to confuse you all completely and throw a spanner in the works here. Anything over 15 minutes, so if your game's at 2 o'clock, 1:45 is fine, but anything before that, you're kind of pushing it. If you turn up that early, you're probably going to be eating into the Game Master's reset time, and, particularly given global events at the moment, the very important cleaning time. If you arrive early and you're happy to stand and wait, that's absolutely fine. You can go get a coffee, you can wait in the waiting area, whatever your game room has to offer you. However, please do not turn up early and expect to be put into your game early. It's usually just not possible. Game Master tip number 2. This one again sounds really obvious when you say it out loud, but yeah, I'm saying it because so many people don't do it. Game Master tip number 2, be polite and listen to your Game Master. Just be polite to the workers you interact with. It really shouldn't be that hard. We need you to pay attention to what we're saying at the beginning because it is usually all very helpful for you and your gameplay. Now, yes, health and safety can be boring, but unfortunately we have to go through it. If you injure yourself in the game doing something we warned you not to do, well, that's kind of on you, isn't it? Should have paid attention to me at the beginning rather than scrolling through your phone and chattering. I'm looking at the dad from last Wednesday. A guy from last Wednesday literally clicked his fingers at me and said, "Get on with it," while I was doing my intro. I started from the beginning again and spoke slower. Yeah, they didn't win their game. Which is another point. If you are very rude to your Game Master, your chances of winning are going rapidly downhill. You do realise that we are quite literally in charge of a lot of the things you will interact with in your gameplay. Now, I'm never saying that I would deliberately go out of my way to make someone's game unplayable. But I can withhold information and give you cryptic clues rather than the really helpful ones that you might be needing. Also, of course, the information we give to you before you start your game is vital to being able to play the game itself. There may be locks in there that you've never used before. There may be things specific to our game that work in a certain way that you will never have experienced anywhere else. Side note, the reason your intro may be so long is because other teams before you have done really stupid things, and we now have to include that as part of the safety briefing to ensure that you don't injure yourselves or damage our equipment trying to do the same stupid stuff. I shall rattle off a quick list now. Breaking into the ceiling tiles, trying to pull up the carpet, using your wife's nail file to unscrew picture frames, attempting to climb the walls, attempting to get out of the fire exit, attempting to disable smoke detectors, attempting to break panes of glass, attempting to pull down items that are nailed into the walls, attempting to rewire a plug, sticking anything into electrical sockets, attempting to rewire our electrical devices, trying to unplug something in the hopes that turning it off and on again will help your gameplay, pressing all the buttons on a keyboard at once, attempting to cover up cameras, smashing things, breaking things, attempting to pry apart prison bars, tearing pages out of books, setting things on fire. All of those have genuinely happened to me in various different games I have worked in. Game Master tip number 3. Do not attempt to pick locks, break things, or use any kind of force at all unless specified in the room. This should be so obvious I shouldn't have to include it, but I literally have to say this several times a day in the intro to my games and part way through as well. Sorry to burst any bubbles, people, but the escape room you're playing is not real. You don't need to take it so seriously that you are trying to force things open, break our equipment, or cause any damage, particularly to the locks. Please bear in mind that there are teams who have to enjoy and use this equipment after you. The game does not begin and end with your experience. We have an entire day's worth of other people booked in, plus other people the next day as well. If you break something, we'll have to go and find spares and then replace whatever you have done. Breaking things, there is no acceptable reason for doing this in an escape room, unless it is specifically part of the escape room. This is not just because you will damage the equipment, it's also because you will mess up your game. Usually, if you're trying to pick or damage a lock, it's not the one that you would have opened with the next clue anyway. So by damaging a lock and getting something out of it, you're probably skipping ahead about 17 steps that are then going to confuse you if you get the wrong clue in the wrong order. You're going to have to backtrack to do several other things, and then you're going to get yourself all in a horrible mess. And guess what? No game master is going to want to help you after you've deliberately broken our equipment. So it's in your best interest, my best interest, and your entire team's best interest if you just stick to finding the clues and solving them rather than trying to force or break your way out of any escape room. It's hella disrespectful and it won't help you. Game Master tip number 4. Do not try to guess the answer to a clue or the combination to a lock. If you're trying to guess a combination lock, it's usually 4 digits going from 1111 to 9999. You're going to have to try and guess a number from 1111 all the way up to 9999. You've only got an hour. Good luck with that, Becky. And if you do manage to guess the right answer, then well, you haven't really had fun solving a clue or puzzle, have you? You've just sort of guessed something at random. Also, guessing can mean that you get into the wrong thing at the wrong time, as with the last tip. If you guess a lock because you've been going through the game, and I see people do this a lot of the time, they go through and they just try and guess random numbers or words on combination locks and things. Well, maybe you're not supposed to be in that box yet. If you happen to guess the right word or code or answer, then you might get something and have no idea what to do with it. And that's because you didn't do things in the right order, you just started guessing randomly and it just happened to pay off. So don't guess. If you need help, ask for it. Don't try and guess things, it will mess up your game. Game Master tip number 5! This one will be told to you in the intro of your game, but hey, some people don't listen when we're talking in the intro, so you may not be aware. Do not attempt to use outside items inside your escape room. Everything that you need to use will be given to you or told to you ahead of time. In fact, a lot of the rooms I work at, we make you lock up your phones before you go into the room, specifically so you can avoid using them. You will not need to use the internet, you will not need to use a torch, you will not need to use your wife's nail file to unscrew a picture frame, you won't need to use a bobby pin to pick things, you will not need anything besides what we give you. There is one game I run where we don't make people lock up their phones, but I do end up telling people quite a lot to turn their torches off. If the game is dark It's supposed to be dark. It's part of the experience. Part of the fun of that game is locating the light switch. It's very easy to find. It's on one of the walls. It's usually found within the first couple of minutes. But if you've got your phone torch on, you're gonna ruin that experience for yourself and everybody else. Leave everything in your bag, in your pockets, locked away. Just don't touch it. Enjoy the game for what it is. Don't try to be clever and use anything from outside of the room. It won't help you. It can sometimes damage our equipment, and it spoils the fun. Game Master tip number 6. This one is super important, particularly if you're in a big team. Communicate with each other continuously. Never stop talking to each other. It is so important. I have seen many a team who have split up and gone their separate ways in the escape room. One team has found something really super interesting, like writing on the wall, and one team has found something really interesting, like a book of numbers or codes. If only these two things could come together and maybe form some sort of 4-digit combination lock. I guarantee you, communication at all times, that is what will win you your escape room. Game Master tip number 7. Please use your Game Master. We know we're very attractive and handsome and we should just be hired to stand there and look amazing, but we are there to help you guys out. Funnily enough, we know every single answer in this game, every single lock and combination, every single clue and answer that you will need is stored in our little noggins. We know exactly what you need to do and when, and we know where everything will be that can help you to solve your puzzles. You could spend 10 minutes on something that you're just not getting, or you can ask for some help. The GM will give you a clue and you can get on with solving that puzzle and save yourselves loads of time. Please do so if you need to. It can mean that you have a winning time as opposed to being stubborn and not finishing at all. Game Master tip number 8. Don't ignore your kids. If you find a kid-friendly escape room and you bring your kids along, please do not ignore them while you are playing. The kids really love getting involved, and I see it time and time again where the grown-ups get so fixated on solving the problem as quick as possible that they don't even let the kids try. Now, yes, sometimes kids won't get it, sometimes they can be slow, but they really love joining in. There's one game I run in particular which vexes me so much when people ignore their kids, because there's loads of things to put into the right places. We've got a puzzle where you have to put the right shapes into the right boxes. We've got a puzzle where you have to put cards in the right order. We've got a game where you have to tap the right things on a screen, that kind of thing. All those things can easily be done by children. They don't even know what they're doing. You just hand them the shape and they put it in the right place. You tell them tap that one and they tap it, that kind of thing. But so many people get so fixated on winning and doing it as fast as they can that I've seen people literally push their kids out of the way and just say no because the kid's doing it too slow. Now, yes, kids can do things slower than you would like, but what is more important to you? Winning a game or involving your kids and getting the whole family in on this activity? Because if you're going to ignore your kids, why did you bring them? Now, over the years, this has happened so much to me that I actually have an internal list of things I can say to kids, depending on their age, of stuff that I can give them to do. I am giving your kids things to do in this escape room because you are ignoring them. Why am I entertaining your kids? I love doing it, but I shouldn't have to. If you take kids to the escape room, let them join in. If it means you don't win, so what? If your kids are having fun, so what? Man, I get cranky over this. Quick story time. I once ran a game for 4 people. It was 2 adults and 2 children. The 2 adults were friends and they had brought their kids with them. The 2 kids were probably about 11 or 12. They were old enough to be interested in the escape room and they were trying to help, but the 2 grown-ups consistently ignored the kids. The kids kept pointing things out like, hey, there's these numbers on the wall and there's the alphabet over there. Maybe they mean something. To which I distinctly heard the grown-ups say, shut up, not now. The kids continue on, picking up on things that are actually going to be really useful. The grown-ups continue doing very badly. I end up having to give them several clues without them asking. And the kids continuously say things like, we told you that. And the grown-ups continue to tell them that they're being rude. So they get to about 35 minutes of their game time. The parents have moved on to one particular puzzle. The kids have pointed out something that will immediately help them to solve the puzzle, but they have been once again ignored. I end up having to once again give a clue to the grown-ups who eventually solve part of this puzzle. The kid, now understandably frustrated by this point, says, we told you that ages ago, why didn't you listen? The grown-up then throws down the clues and full on screams at their kid, saying, "I didn't bring you here to be rude, go and sit over there." The grown-up then turns to their friend and starts crying, saying, "I'm so sorry, I didn't bring my child here to be an ungrateful brat." Yeah, they didn't finish the game, they left quite quickly after that, the kids still protesting that all they'd done was try to help, the grown-up screaming at them and telling them to shut up because they're going home, all the way out of the building. That was one of the most painful things I ever had to witness as a game master, and I really wish that I could have said something. But I just don't think anything I could have said would have helped. So moving on then to Game Master tip number 9. In a sort of similar vein to what I just spoke about, try to keep your emotions in check when you're in an escape room. Maybe you don't realise that you're going to start panicking or getting overexcited or getting really hyper-competitive and angry. Just remember, nobody wants to be the grown-ass woman sitting on the floor having a toddler tantrum in the middle of an escape room that all the game masters are now messaging each other about. Don't be that person. And Game Master tip number 10. Winning is not everything, and win or lose, don't be afraid to try other escape rooms. There are always going to be escape rooms out there that will not gel with you in particular. They won't work with your way of thinking, your way of communicating, your way of working things out, your logic, anything like that. But that's fine. For every one room that just isn't for you, there'll be loads of other rooms that are. If you have bad experiences, please don't let that put you off trying any others, because hopefully at some point you'll find a room that you just really, really love. And hopefully it'll be one of mine. Also, as a sort of extra mini tip to try and avoid this happening in the first place, I recommend having a team that's built up of different types of people. You sort of want a team that has someone from every Hogwarts house, that kind of thing. You'll definitely solve more puzzles that way, as everyone will be able to contribute something. So have you played many escape rooms before? Let me know down in the comments below. If you have, tell me what experiences you have had. If you've never played before, tell me if you would just never do it or if you just haven't gotten round to it yet. What kind of game would you like to play? What have you done already? Do you think you would enjoy having me as your game master? So thank you, Jellyspooons, for watching this episode of Monday Madness. I hope you have a wonderful week. I should be getting back to you on Friday with a special story time because I totally missed last week's. I apologise. At the very end of the month, I will show you my Flynn Rider cosplay and my crazy month of making it. I am not quite halfway through right now. Also, I'll be bringing you the video to celebrate the winner of the musicals Battle Royale as well. So stay safe, have a wonderful week. I will see you very soon, my Jellyspoons. Goodbye. Goodbye. I now have to reset. The last team, they won. They were lovely. I love that team. They were hilarious. They really engaging. They chatted to me the whole time. They were just absolutely great. They did win. They were also really good. But I now have to play the game of where did they put all the stuff? Because it's impossible. They were a team of 7 and it's impossible to keep an eye on like every single person in a group of 7, and I've just found one of the torches which is rolled underneath a chest of drawers, which is fine. Thankfully it's still lit, so that helps me see it easier. But yeah, there are a lot of props in this game, and in this game we have a checkers board, and we have to have the exact right number of checkers on it to make the code work. So I now have to go and make sure that there are no lost checkers anywhere, and if I can't find them, and there's usually one that I can't find, I have to go and replace it from another set that we've got. Which is fine, but what then tends to happen is that the next team will find it. Like if you cannot find a prop, if it is just gone, if you're thinking they must have had it in their pocket and accidentally just taken it home with them, no, the next team will find it every time, I can guarantee. And if later on they notice that they've got more than they need, what they tend to do as a team is go, this must be in case we lose one or we drop one, and then someone inevitably drops one and they go, yeah, point proven kind of thing. So yeah, I'm now going to reset. I've actually got a little bit of time because they won. They won by about 10-15 minutes, so I've actually got some extra time, which is great. So contrary to what you may believe, Game Masters, we enjoy winning teams. Like, we love a winning team because that means that I've got more time to reset. And if it's lunchtime, I've got an extra 5 minutes to eat my lunch because most of the time I don't. Most of the time I get time to sort of shove something really quickly in my face and then frantically get ready for the next team. So yeah, I enjoy winning teams. They give me more time to do things, and I have at least one prop that I don't know where it is, because I didn't see where they put it down. And it's fine, because I'm going to go and check where most people put it. It'll be fine. I will update you momentarily.